Welcome to my Sea of Thieves review, a game by the legendary company Rare, who gave us gems such as GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and Banjo-Kazooie back in the day of the Nintendo 64. Having such a renowned history, we all expected the best from Rare, so how does their new swashbuckling open-world multiplayer game hold up? Well, I'd like to start with what Sea of Thieves does very well, and that is the graphics and the art design. It is spectacular. The cartoony style lends perfectly to the tone of the game, making exploring this huge ocean a constant spectacular sight to see, whether you are exploring small waterlogged islands, investigating hidden caves and alcoves, or navigating through a storm with your ship crashing against 15-foot waves. It all looks amazing. The sea can be as calm as it can be treacherous, and you will probably crash multiple times into rocks that you did not see coming because you were admiring the reflection of the moon at night over to your left on the flat, never-ending water, or admiring the lapping of the waves against the side of your ship as you sail towards your next objective. This really is the best water I've ever seen in the game before. The game seems to run incredibly well as well. It's a buttery smooth to look at even when you're fighting with multiple skeletons or players. Enemies react well to your strikes and your ship reacts perfectly to being struck with cannonballs, as well as huge rogue waves in an intense storm. All the beauty and mystique also lends well to the sound design in this game. The relaxing shanties and folk-style music is extremely enjoyable to listen to as you explore outposts in between quests, or as your crewmates serenade you with their instruments whilst you captain a sinking ship due to another unforeseen sailing error. The music also picks up for sword and ship combat, quickening to an adrenaline-filled pace that really gets your blood rushing. It does all sound very clear and very smooth, and fits perfectly with the cartoony pirate theme. The only thing I could say could use some work is the voices for the NPCs that issue the quests in the outposts and sell you items in shops. They feel disconnected from the piratey world of plunder and salty wenches, and perhaps other voice actors could have done some lines, or maybe just stick with what was in the beta and completely do the whole game in text-based conversation systems. In the first few hours of the game, all this polish and style really got us sucked in, and starting with a two-man crew on a small schooner, we set off to explore the new world and make our fortune selling booty that we would surely find. But this game is clearly designed for a social experience, and if your sails are fully lowered, you cannot even see where you are sailing, so cooperation with your crew and friends is key. You collect quest scrolls from an outpost from a friendly NPC and take it back to your ship for your crew for up to 4 players to vote on. After you raise the anchor, set sails, and begin your voyage into the unknown, you're off. This game truly shines when you are with friends and the intrigue of exploration sets in. We quickly found it was better to join up to another pair of players and board a galleon of 4. We all had our different jobs which were crucial to the sailing of the ship. Someone must steer, someone must man the crow's nest and spy enemy ships and storms, someone must keep the sails angled into the wind. We were having fun. We were completing quests, digging up treasure, and everything was going great. After the 5th skeleton killing, treasure chest looting quest, my crew started to ask me whether there was anything else we can do because the rinse and repeat early quests were getting rather boring. So we set off and sailed to another island to explore, rather than heading to the quest island. We quickly discovered that this game is incredibly shallow. There is nothing to find or do out in the world unless you are on a quest. This boredom set the tone for the rest of the game then, unfortunately. Every quest up until the final few higher level quests were the same. Search for an island, kill skeletons, dig up treasure or a skull, rinse and repeat until you grind your level high enough for better quests. But the bigger quests take more time and follow the same formula. But instead of an island, you may be searching a sunken ship, or the chest or the skull that you loot may have a unique quirk attached to it, like it may constantly leak water and flood your ship as you're sailing. Other than that, there is very little or no variation to the quests, and there is also no variation between the different factions that issue you with the quests. It becomes incredibly repetitive and boring very quickly. The boredom may be interrupted every now and then by another player crew sailing the seas and attempting to steal your loot. However, we generally found that the ship combat is very simplistic, and after a few direct hits either way, the enemy crew would turn and run away to protect their plunder. Either that, or they would sail to the closest outpost, hide in the bushes beside the vendor that you sell the chest to, and murder you and take all the credit and money for your hard work, which is incredibly irritating. I expect a little bit of griefing in online games, but I think the outpost should be a hub area where weapons do not work to prevent this kind of behaviour. After a few more hours of gameplay, we discovered that this game is very unfinished. Some animations would not work or would just be totally missing. We encountered the Kraken and found out there was no body underneath the water, just magical tentacles springing up from the waves. We found that our ship would magically sink for no reason sometimes. We also found that gravity works exactly the same underwater just as it does on land if you follow your ship down. And not long after that, we started running into the error codes. We had constant disconnections, bad servers, voice chat was cutting out, people were getting kicked. This game has been suffering heavily from launch problems and issues, which is strange since Microsoft are meant to have the best servers around. All in all, we were not having fun anymore. The combat quickly became stale and clunky and repetitive, just like the rest of the game. The encounters with other players became a hassle rather than excitement. And when we could manage to get the game to work because of the maze of error codes, what we found was the game was, forgive the pun, a skeleton of what it should be. It's bare bones, it is empty. Progression is non-existent. You gain money and reputation by completing quests and selling chests that level you up, making more customizations options available for your pirate and your ship. But because of the balanced gameplay, Rare have decided to keep everyone on a level playing field, incredibly level playing field, and having no advantage over any other player. Every pirate plays the same. Every pirate has the same inventory. Every ship is the same. So progression is totally meaningless. And the story is non-existent. You have no explanation who you are or why you're pirating. Sometimes we weren't even sure who among us was the captain, because every pirate is exactly the same. Sea of Thieves is like an expensive small cake or muffin. It looks great and it's super tasty, but after 3 bites it's gone, and afterwards you just feel guilty and robbed. I am shocked that Microsoft are charging full price £50 for this game. It isn't even worth half of that. This game has less content out there than some free-to-play games that are out. It's downright insulting, and once you hit the wall that is at the end of this game, about 4 to 5 hours in, it's not going to be much longer than that, and you realise it has nothing more to offer you, you will feel conned and disgusted. This game barely earns a 5 out of 10 from me. I had fun at first, and so will you with a good team of friends, and I was going to give it a better score, but then it went downhill quickly after that 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, and it becomes a repetitive, mindless grind that has no shiny reward at the end of it. For the amount of content in this game, it should be 20% of its original retail price, at best. It is a beautiful looking ocean that is as shallow as a puddle. A huge disappointment, and unless they make major updates over the coming months, I have seen all there is to see and will probably never play it again, which is a shame. But thank you for sticking with me through this bittersweet review, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe to this channel for more gaming videos and reviews just like this one. For anyone else who wants to support my channel further, you can visit my Patreon and other social media sites that I use. I will link them down below. Becoming a Patreon would help me greatly and would allow me to go one step further to creating better content in the future. Thank you, and I will see you next time.